The Calgary Flames ended up signing Nazem Kadri, much to the surprise of a lot of so-called experts. But Jess Belmosto is here to talk about what Nazem Kadri means to the Flames, where he fits in, and how a very different Flames team may be better now than they were a year ago. All that and more coming up on the Locked On NHL podcast.
You're Locked On NHL, your daily podcast on the National Hockey League. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
And welcome, everybody, to the Monday edition of the Locked On NHL podcast. Gil Martin, so glad you could join us today. And thanks for making Locked On NHL your first listen every day. We are free and available on all platforms. The big news around the hockey world the last few days, Nazem Kadri signing a free agent deal with the Calgary Flames. Jess Belmosto of Locked On Flames is here to talk about it and tell us what this deal means. Jess, were you as surprised as a lot of other people about this signing?
Yes. I was convinced that he had already signed with the Islanders, and a friend had texted me a little heads up and was like, hey, sounds like something's coming down the wire right now. I was like, okay, I guess I'll just postpone my nap. That's fine. I just absolutely wild to think where this team was a year ago or even a month ago to where they are now. And they could win the division after, I think a lot of people have the Oilers pegged, but nope. I think the Flames are going to be true contenders again this year.
I think so too. And, Kadri, where do you think he's going to fit in to this Flames lineup? And who do you think they'll have playing with him?
Yeah, this is just such an interesting situation because the Flames are in a position where they can do like the little plug and play to see who has the best chemistry, what works the best, and not just with Kadri, but with Huberdeau and Andrew Mangiapane, who has the chance to kind of make another leap in his career this season as well, where he could find himself on the top line. I think that Kadri could easily start as a first line center or, and have Huberdeau on his left and Mangiapane on his right. There are so many options for Daryl Sutter to just be scribbling down in his little notebook or whatever he does to prepare for the season. And I was thinking about this last week before Kadri had even signed. It's like the Flames have options and they're legitimate options, and building a team down the center, a strong team down the center, is only going to help this team even more.
No question about that. And, never before had an NHL team lost two 100-point-plus players in one offseason. And yet, as we said at the opening, this team may be better this year than they were a year ago. It's impressive, the moves that were made this offseason.
Yeah. If you told me the day free agency opened that this would be where the Flames are at, I would probably bet a lot of money saying you're wrong. But Brad Treliving is getting the deal done. He's getting whatever he needs to get done. The kind of running joke in Calgary is that Brad didn't get his guy because he was always missing out on trades and big free agents and whatnot. But, sure, Matthew Tkachuk and Johnny Gaudreau walked, but it wasn't for a lack of trying on Treliving's part. Jack Eichel, that whole trade saga, Brad didn't get his guy there either, but he was able to go out this offseason and get quite a bit. That's a little bit more impressive to me for how much he's acquired versus just one player with Jack Eichel. But, to bring on another 115-point player, you're getting a Johnny Hockey for a Johnny Hockey here, and then significantly increasing the strength of your defense with the Uyghur addition. And then this team had questions in their forwards, and bringing on a guy like Kadri and not having to give up, it's a free agent signing. So you're not giving anything up besides some money and some term. That's it. And it's just impressive. Like, it leaves me speechless to say that this team very well could be better than what we saw.
Does the giving a 7-year contract to a 32-year-old player concern you at all? Not now, but let's say 4, 5, 6 years down the road.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that that's just kind of the name of the game, and part of the business is, you're going to, when it comes to free agency, you're going to overpay with money or the term. And quite honestly, I would rather it be the term, because that's a lot easier to figure out and fix than putting yourself in a cap crunch down the road that you can't predict. You can structure a contract in a way that doesn't make it buyout proof, or there's a way to structure it so a team could bring on the contract and do a trade. Everyone said Sean Monahan's contract was untradeable. Nothing is untradeable. And I really am impressed with Brad Treliving's ability to get this done. And I don't know. I think that it's too early to be stressing out about what's 4 or 5 years down the road.
Fair enough. You mentioned Monahan. Will the team miss him? And talk a little bit about his impact in Calgary while he was there.
Yeah, it pains me to say that my time covering the Flames was not a good point in Sean Monahan's career. It was injury after injury, seasons ending short, just struggling production-wise. But he has made it a point. He was a really big locker room guy. He's one of the last pieces of the core that was there. And it just, his absence will definitely be felt. And he wore the A for a reason. He was a leader. And he had a fantastic impact on the community in Calgary, just like Mark Giordano had as well. Very, very involved in Calgary and the community there. But, it's really exciting to go on and see what he's going to do for the people in Montreal. I don't think that that's just something that's going to stop just because his time in one city came to an end.
No question about that. It's just the kind of guy he really is.
Mm-hmm.
Jess, why don't you tell our viewers and our listeners where they could find the podcast and where they could find you on social media?
Sure. So you can find the show Locked On Flames wherever you get your favorite podcasts, and head on over there to listen to Monday's the Sean Monahan episode. So you can find that on YouTube, Spotify, Apple, wherever. And you can find the show on Twitter at LO_FlamesPod. And you can find me at Jess Belmosto.
Jess, thanks so much for stopping by. Always a pleasure to talk to you.
Thank you so much, Gil.
You hanging out with some friends and putting back a few drinks. A few becomes a few too many. As the evening comes to an end and people start to head out, you think about calling for a ride. Nah, you live nearby. You can make it home okay. It's no big deal. I mean, what are the odds you'll get pulled over anyway? And even so, what's the worst that could happen? Your insurance goes up, you lose your license, you lose your job, you total your car, you kill someone. Everyone knows about the risks of driving drunk. The results are tragic and often deadly. However, that still doesn't stop everyone from getting behind the wheel under the influence. That's why police officers are out there right now looking for impaired drivers on our roads to save lives. So if you think you're okay to drive after a few drinks, think again. Play it safe and plan ahead to get a ride. It only takes one mistake to change your life or someone else's forever. Drive sober or get pulled over.